Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Ramkrishna Forgings Limited results conference call for fourth quarter and year-ended FY21. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Prateek Vajani from ICICI Securities Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Faizan. Good morning, everyone. To the Q4 conference call of Ramkrishna Forgings Limited. We are here represented by the management, Mr. Naresh Jalan, Managing Director, Mr. Chaitanya Jalan, Whole-time Director, Mr. Lalit Khetan, Executive Director and CFO, and Mr. Rajesh Mundra, Company Secretary. Now I request Mr. Lalit Khetan to initiate the opening comments. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Prateek, and a very good morning to everyone. We welcome you to con call hosted by our company for quarter and year ended 31st March 2021. I have with me Mr. Naresh Jalan, Managing Director, Mr. Chaitanya Jalan, and Mr. Rajesh Mundra on this con call today. The total operational revenues for this quarter has been rupees 517.88 crore as compared to rupees 226.46 crore in the corresponding quarter. The total operational revenues for the year has been rupees 1288.37 crore as compared to rupees 1117.83 crore in the corresponding period. The company has achieved an EBITDA net of other income of rupees 107.67 crore for this quarter against rupees 36.76 crore for the corresponding quarter. The EBITDA net of other income for the year ended 31st March 21 has been rupees 229.92 crore against rupees 203.72 crore in the corresponding period. The EBITDA margins net of other income stood at 17.85% for the year ended 31st March 2021 compared to 18.32% in the corresponding period. Net debt as on 31st March 2021 is about rupees 1,070 crore, that is after adjusting bill discounting finance in respect of Tata Motors bills of about 68.50 crore and cash and bank balances of 66.58 crores from the gross debt. Out of 1070 crore, we have a long-term debt of 663 crore and a working capital borrowing of 313 crore and 94 crore is the current maturity of long-term borrowings. Again, due to shortage of containers and congestion in ports, the company has to incur additional cost of about 8.5 crore on export logistics during the quarter. Otherwise, EBITDA margin in this quarter could have been higher by 170 basis points. We have achieved a total capacity utilization of about 92.95% in this quarter against 82.9% in the sequential quarter. We have achieved a domestic sales tonnage of 21,217 tons for this quarter against 17,366 tons in sequential quarter. We have achieved an export sales tonnage of 9,693 tons for this quarter against 8,048 tons in the sequential quarter. The export sale for the quarter has been rupees 189.79 crores against rupees 155.80 crores in the sequential quarter. The company has uploaded an investor presentation providing requisite details. We request to the investors not to raise any customer-specific queries during the con call. Thank you. Prateek, now it's over to you.
Should we start the questions and answer?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use the handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 at this time. The first question is from the line of Abhishek Jain from Dolat Capital. Please go ahead.
Thanks for opportunity, sir, and congrats for a strong set of numbers. Sir, if you could throw some light on the domestic demand and production side, what sort of the hurdles MSCV industry is facing post second wave of COVID, and what are supply and production side headwinds? Hello? Hello?
Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Are
Abhishek,
you? Yes, sir.
I think as of now, post the COVID surge, second surge, I think most of the dealers right now are closed. And the OEMs have gone for block closure because they are not able to get the parts from across India and they are unable to assemble the vehicle. While the underlying demand remains strong in MHCV, mostly on the tipper vehicle side. But as of now, in last 1 month, we have seen tonnage and sales decline. But we feel once the COVID surge settles down and most of the dealership opens as well as the manufacturing opens across India, pan-India, we will see demand again clogging back because the underlying demand is not soft.
So most probably that demand will bounce back from the second half onwards because usually monsoon is a lean period for the MSCV.
No, I don't think monsoon is going to play much of the issue because the demand side is pretty strong. So we feel immediately once it opens up, maybe with a lag of a fortnight, demand is going to come back.
Okay, sir. And sir, my second question on the margin front, as RM prices has gone up significantly, are you able to pass it to the customer, especially in the export side? As we see realization growth in export just 1% quarter on quarter. So how much price hike have you taken in Q4, and how much RM inflation impact do you see in a first quarter FY22?
RM basically is 100% pass on for us both in exports and domestic market. But as rightly pointed out, in the last quarter we have not been able to pass on the price hike of the raw material because international price is took a turn in the mid of the quarter, and we have been able to pass on the hike from 1st April 2021 onwards.
So what sort of the realization jump can we see in the first quarter FY22?
Whatever raw material pricing has gone up, same has been passed on with effect from 1st April 21.
Okay, sir. Sir, in past 3 years, your capex is around 700 crores, but your capacity addition looks just around 2,550 metric ton for the baseline. So, sir, please, can you throw some light on your maintenance capex and the growth capex in the last 3 years so we can get a better visibility on the capex side?
Abhishek, we have did about 237 crore of capex in the last year.
Yeah.
And out of that, maintenance capex was around 15 to 20 crore. Rest has gone to the project. We have added hollow spindle line in the last quarter of this financial year, and which is having capacity of 10,200 ton, but 2,550 we have returned due to only we have added 1 quarter for the purpose of pro rata calculation. So 10,200 ton capacity has gone up, and also we have started the press line and railway facility in the month of April also. So that also gives us an additional 17,000 ton production capacity. Another 10,000 ton capacity will be there of the addition of press line within next 3 to 4 months. So entire 37,000 capacity what we envisage will be in place before August 2021.
So the total capacity addition would be around 1,87,000 as per your And how much more capex is required to complete all these?
See, almost we have done almost out of 350 crore what we planned, we have almost incurred 300 crore till 31st March. In the current year, it will be around 50 crore further we need to spend to complete this capex, entire capex to achieve 187,000 ton capacity. Plus another 15-20 crore will go in the maintenance capex in this year. So another 70 crore you can say is required total in the capex for the year FY22.
Okay, sir. And sir, So how much is the revenue mix for the MHCVs and LCVs for the domestic side in the FY21? And you are also looking to expand your capacity in the passenger vehicle. So you have added the passenger vehicle capacity just now, or you have already added in the past?
No, first of all, overall, we do not have any benchmark in terms of domestic. Overall, in terms of the total top line, close to around 20% is LCV and 80% is MHCV in auto sales. And the passenger vehicle capacity is going to come, like Lalita said, is by August 21. It is going to get completed.
Okay. Sir, my last question related with your working capital. The debtor days has gone up significantly in FY21 and now stands around 159 days. Even in the last quarter, it was 190 days. Is the vendor inventory is higher in export side, which is putting pressure on the working capital, or what is the reason?
No. Abhishek, if you look at carefully at the numbers, if you are looking at full year number, it is looking higher. If you look at the 3-month number, if you compare it from the last year, it is actually lower. If you look at the 3-month number, because performance has come in last 6 months, and we are calculating on the 12-month basis. So if we look at 3-month number, 570 crore top line and 559 crore of debtors, so it's only around 98 days. And in this also we have added a Tata Motor Build accounting of 68 crore, which was not there last year. If we reduce that, it will come down to 86 days basically debtors.
Okay. So for full year FY22, we can assume that the debtors day, which is we are able to see around 159 days, that will come to the around 90 to 100 days.
Yeah, certainly. It will be around 90 days.
Okay, sir. That's all for us, sir. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vipul S. from Reliance Securities. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Congratulations for very strong performance, and thank you for taking my question. So again, follow up on this working capital side only. Our net debt has gone up sequentially as well as YOY, despite our net working capital days has come down, sir. So what is can you give some detail on this, and what is our repayment planning on that?
See, net debt has gone down, gone up only due to the capex we have incurred. I earlier explained that we have added around 235 crore on the committed capex this year, and still my debt has gone up by only 120 crore this year, despite the first 2 quarters being bad and company making a profit in the last 2 quarters. So my debt number, even after capex addition of 235 crore capex, has gone up only by 120 crore. And working capital utilization has also gone up in the last 2 quarters. So if you look at the last 2 quarter number, in absolute number, net working capital utilization has also not gone down in absolute numbers. In number of days, it may have gone down, but absolute numbers, it has not gone. So there is a plan of repayment. We have a obligation of about repayment of 95 crore in the next financial year.
So our target is this 95 crore repayment. So next 2-3 years, where do you see debt to come down?
From here on, every year we intend to reduce the capex debt only, and whatever be the cash flow of the company, at least 1/3 of that, minimum 1/3 of that will be deployed towards reduction of debt only.
Yes, sir. My second question is in our presentation on page number 8, we have given that witness in second point, witness encouraging new business wins and client engagement across categories. So, sir, can you throw some more light that in this quarter, which are the new business wins and new clients we added?
We will not be able to name the clients, but we have, in terms of in Europe, we have made some significant inroads, as well as in North America, we have made considerable inroads in light vehicle segments.
sir, can you, though you will not give name, but can you quantify that what would be the quantum of these new orders on annual basis?
Annualized basis from the year FY23, it will be close to around $25 million.
Okay. And sir, lastly, again on the light vehicle, also we have mentioned that we have made significant inroads in North America, and top line, bottom line will start getting reflected in FY23-24. So what would be this quantum in 22, and more details on this light vehicle side? Is there anything
Out of this
coming from India?
this $25 million business which we have been able to get, I think close to around 20, and the entire volume is from light vehicles, and this year, full year will go into making of samples and PPAP lots. Next year, the entire money will come into the bottom line, top line, and because of light vehicle volumes and consistent volumes, we will be able to make better margins in terms of realization.
So just follow up on this. Anything sizable from the domestic side on LV, light vehicle side?
No, I think it is entirely export driven.
And similar geographical contribution from passenger vehicle side?
No, I think passenger vehicle, we are here, capacity setup is yet to get completed. I think it will take another 2 or 3 months time before the capacity is in place. After that only we will start booking orders. Right now we are not booking orders right now based on, we would like to see the samples and the things before we start booking orders on those.
But so when will target Indian customer or will be global mainly?
We are targeting any and every customer. So we have not made any details in terms of which customer. We are already in talks with lot of customers in domestic market as well as on the international market.
Lastly, sir, on the margin side, this quarter revenue, geography-wise as well as everything was quite favorable. So still, do you think any further scope for margin improvement in 22-23, and what would be the driver for that?
I think as the capacity utilization improves, I think there will be significant improvement in terms of margins.
Okay,
and
sir, thank you.
We are already with the capacity, so capacity is going to get utilized as the market, in domestic market, we are just waiting for the market to open, and I think we are fortnight away from things to stabilize and open up.
Yeah, thanks, sir, and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sanjay Dam from Old Bridge Capital. Please go ahead.
Nareshji, congratulations for a wonderful set of numbers. Hello?
Yes, Sanjay.
Yes. So, 2-3 questions from my side is that when I look at your realization, last year domestic realization was 1,50,000 rupees a ton. This year is also 1,50,000 rupees a ton. Any reason why it is on a YY basis, and that's also in the case of export market, there is no change. So, if nothing else has changed, that shouldn't the higher raw material cost got reflected in the realization per ton, higher realization per ton?
I think, Sanjay, probably I think quarter on quarter, if you see the realization in domestic has improved considerably. In export side, like in the previous question I've explained, we have not been able to pass on the raw material price hike in the month of January to March, because in export indexes which we follow in terms of contract, all the increases came in January, February and March. So we have been able to pass on.
It's not higher, sir. Even YY it's static. Any reason for that?
No. I think basically it is a question of product mix also. Okay. So basically raw material price hike we have been able to pass on from 1st April. So you will be able to see export realization going up significantly in this quarter.
Sure. And domestically, you don't expect much change?
No, I think raw material prices have been stable from 1st April. I think OEMs have not yet decided on the price increase because of the COVID right now.
Sure.
And because April and May has not been very good for the domestic OEMs. So I
Understand.
think steel price has not yet been discussed at all. I think probably when everything opens up, we will see some murmuring going on, and if that really goes through, then that hike will come into place.
Perfect.
But anything, whatever happens, will happen only after 1st July.
Sure. When I look at our export revenues, FY20 we did 438 crore, FY21 we did 525 crore. So in the last quarter of FY21 you did 190 crore. So when I look at FY22 and 23 you did mention some new orders that you won. I presume they would be incremental over what we already announced in as wins in the earlier few calls. So where does so this 190, is it safe to kind of extrapolate it, or it doesn't happen that way?
No, it happens that way only. I think 190 crores is the benchmark which we have set. I think full year, I think we should look at close to around 800 crores of exports, minimum exports from for this year.
Right. And in FY23, would it be with this wins, should you reach 1,000 crore odd?
I think this 25 million which we have won, this entirely is going to come into effect in next year. And our entire thrust and the new capacities which we have built is giving lot of thrust to us in terms of exports and to new geographies also. So I think we are very, very, very bullish for next 2 years in terms of exports.
Right. And wish you all the best on that. The other question was that if I look at the export incentive, you all are still booking some export incentive. So I thought that the new norms are yet to come in. So is it that part which is not dependent on that RoDTEP? It is the other part which we will continue to get this 4.
No. The other part we have certainly accounted for duty drawback, and on the RoDTEP part we have gone very conservative. We have just accounted for 0.5% of exports against 3% of MEIS. So that's the very conservative part of RoDTEP, because RoDTEP numbers are still not out. Once the actual RoDTEP rates are out, then we will account as per the actual numbers.
So this 4.5 crore is pretty safe to assume.
Yes, it's a very conservative.
Right. And so you did you give us some very good sense on where exports are headed. So far as domestic is concerned, in a normalized situation, given your capacity, so basically, if I saw your presentation, you are almost at a 92% utilization. So where are we headed from here? I mean, you don't have too much of headroom so far as utilization is concerned. So what will drive?
Sanjay, I think it is a very hypothetical question right now, because of the current month. If you see current 2 months, it has been a complete washout with the domestic.
No, that's fine, sir. I'm not talking about that. That is fine. You can't do anything. You can't do anything about it any which ways.
But actually, if I rightly say, the demand side is very strong. Whenever we speak to the OEMs and other places right now, demand side is still very strong, and because of this oxygen shortages and all the OEMs closing down as well as the ancillaries, they are short of lot of parts, so they are not making vehicles. And as soon as this opens up, I think you will be able to see numbers again clocking up, and strong numbers clocking up. This year we expect one of the best years to happen in MHCV sectors in domestic market. And to answer to your question in terms of capacity, I think we are well prepared with both domestic and exports market strengthening. I think we are looking at further improving our capacity utilization, as well as 92%, which Lalit has said in his opening remarks. Basically, these are numbers which we derive from the tooled up capacity. But there are always Kaizen and other things which we continue to do in the plant, which goes unrecorded. And these are places where we exceed whatever we feel that the capacity is there. So we have much headroom left still for improving our top line with the domestic industry as well as the export industry, which is going strong.
Got it, sir. Thank you so much for taking all my questions, and wish you all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kaushik Podar from KB Capital Markets. Please go ahead.
Yeah, in the presentation you have talked about more per car. So just to understand your philosophy as to how you look for the next 5 years, I mean, how you are going about it. I mean,
can you repeat your question? I think your the voice is breaking.
Okay. Just if you can elaborate the more per car part of it.
Means basically content part of it.
Yeah, I mean, how has it worked out over the past years, and how do you see it 3 to 5 years down the line?
No, I as a company, our continuous endeavor is to improve the content per vehicle, and this has been always our work. Post the COVID, we have learnt from what we did in the past, and we right now are looking at not in terms of increasing particular component in terms of number of vehicles. We are looking at content per vehicle. So I think we have developed a lot of new parts in last 12 months in terms of engine components, steering components, and as well as axle components, wherein we have improved our content per vehicle. And this is going to be a continuous affair as long as, because we feel that there is a lot of availability in the market in terms of improving contents from going from forging to machined and then to assemblies. So we are following that system of getting into more value-add products with the customer.
Okay. And do you see things changing with the electric vehicles coming? Will electric vehicles be using as much of your products?
Yes, we don't see any major supply disruption because of electric vehicles, because any electric vehicle will be requiring steerings or axles. Only the engine is going to, and we do not have a major contributor in terms of engine.
As of now, what is your contribution from engine?
I think it's only about 2 components we supply for engines, being the crankshafts and connecting rods. So they are not major contributors to us, and that also we are supplying only to LCV segment. So it's a very insignificant portion. I think maybe to hardly put a number, maybe 2 to 3% of the total revenue.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aditya Makaria from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. So just wanted to know what is the outlook for Class 8 trucks in the US? Because some commentary suggests that truckers are running short of inventory. I mean, they're running short of capacity, but yet the production isn't being ramped up.
Aditya, Class 8 trucks for till FY23, we can safely say, means calendar year 23, not FY23, calendar year 23, we can safely say the market is going to be extremely strong, whatever we get feedbacks from our the OEs over there. And basically right now the OEs are not able to ramp up because of the shortage of chips. Because of, you may be aware that there has been a major shutdown in the Japanese chip manufacturing facility. Mm-hmm. I think that's the reason they have not been able to ramp up. But last week we got the information that the plant is back in production, and I think in next 2 quarters the chip production is going to match the required numbers. So we expect by December the things to normalize in the Class 8 segment in US.
So, sir, CY22, can they do 250,000 units, the industry?
I think CY22, I think 330,000 is the figure which they talk about right now, not even 2.5.
Wow, and so CY21 must be 2.5, I mean.
Yes.
Okay, got you. And so secondly, just one follow-up question is, any update on the acquisition we were pursuing? Under NCLT, there was one company.
On the ACIL, it's still pending in the NCLT, and the courts are right now under COVID. We're just giving date and not taking it on priority.
Achha.
And we are just trying to push it, and we hope to get a positive decision in next 3 to 4 month time on this.
Okay. And just one housekeeping question. In your presentation, you break up the capacity into forgings and presses. So I was just wondering, what's the difference?
Forging is basically traditional forging, that is a plant one, that's the oldest plant. And the press is basically the latest plants which have been set up across last 3 years.
So this is a 16,000 ton press, is it?
12,500 ton press.
12,000, okay. So basically your new forging capacity, you're classifying it as presses because that is more for high-end work.
Yes, yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Adhiral Shah from Phillip Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, sir, and congratulations for the great set of numbers. So my question is pertaining to the non-auto side, particularly railway and oil and gas. So if you can share the details, revenue details for FY21.
I think Viral, the oil and gas industry is still going through a limbo. I think we do not see any major thrust right now from the oil and gas industry. In railways, last year we did close to around 28 or 30 crores of revenue only, because major part of the year the railways are shut. And this year also we don't expect very big numbers from railways, while we expect railways to open up from October onwards in full-fledged way. But we don't see, but we are very, very optimistic on railways in FY23.
So I remember, sir, earlier you were guiding around 300 crore kind of a revenue from railway, right, by FY23?
Yes, capacity is already in place. Capacity is up and running. Samples have been approved by railways. Whatever samples we made has been approved. PPAP lots also have been approved. So now we are just waiting for business to pick up on the railway side. Capacity for achieving a 300 crore plus top line from railways is already in place.
Okay, but you still believe that we can achieve this mark by FY23 end?
Yes.
Okay, and sir, overall capacity, if you see, which is currently 90%, and you are guiding railway 300 crore, you are also, one order from LCV segment. So you feel existing, capacity would help us to deliver this kind of a revenue growth?
The total capacity which has been mentioned is not including railways. Railways is basically a fabrication capacity, which does not have any tonnage basically.
Okay.
So that number is not included in the tonnage side of it. And in terms of the new business win is basically for light vehicle, which whatever we have won and whatever we are in process of completing it, I think that has been included in the capex, and which is going to get completed by August this year. And like Lalit in his opening call has already mentioned that around 50 crores capex which is left to be completed will be completed within this money, and we will be ready with the capacities for completion of going in terms of completing those orders.
So this 50 crore would be for PV, right?
No, LCV and PV.
Okay. And overall capacity will be around 1,87,000 by August.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. That's it from my side. All the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Karthikeyan from Suryash Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Good morning. Couple of things. One is, can you talk about the competitive dynamics? Also who is the competition against which you won these 25 million of orders?
No, I don't think we will be able to mention any competitor's name. It's a customer's call ultimately. We will not be able to, because in international business we don't come to know who are, because it's a pan-globe, entire people compete to get these businesses. So we do not basically know who is the competitor in the business.
But what determines the success? How do you win? That's really what I'm trying to understand.
Basically, that's the commercial part of it and both technical part of it. We have been able to present ourselves in the way the customer likes what we are trying to do and what commercially we have been able to show them. That is the only way we are winning the business.
Right. And this 25 million, can you split up between Europe and North America?
It's close to around 17 to 18 million from North America and 7 million around in Europe.
Yeah. And how many customers would you currently have in Europe?
We have, I think, as of today, when we speak after these order wins, we have all the customers who make commercial vehicles.
Right. And is there strong visibility for growth in these? I see that it's only 8% of revenue currently. So could you get to say 500 in 3 years' time?
No, I don't want to put a number to it. Our marketing people are already on the job. And North America has grown for us. Now our thrust is in Europe and South America, and both places our marketing team is working aggressively to increase our visibility in both the markets.
Right. Great. One last thing on side. Can you comment on the sustainability of the payables number? Fairly large number.
Yeah, payable number at this level of operations, payable will be like this only, okay, because you can see the numbers has gone up, and there may be little moderation, but it will be quite like this only.
You will be able to sustain these levels.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks and best wishes.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Subrata Sarkar from Mount Intra Finance. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah. Sir, my question is very specific on the capacity side. So we are already 92%. For FY22, like what will be the capacity addition, or like how much can we ramp up given the normalcy returns back into the like demand situation? If you can share the exact number in terms of tonnage and all those things.
I think we'll not be able to share the exact numbers, but like Lalit has already clarified in earlier question.
No, I'm talking only about, sir, additional capacity so that we can have.
We are, by August, 37,000 tons will be addition in capacity total, roughly. So we will be at 1,87,000 tons of the available capacity by August.
Okay. So entire FY22, this is this will be the total capacity addition, or there are some other scope in terms of capacity addition?
No, this is the total capacity addition which is going to be there by end of FY22. 1,87,000 tons is going to be the total capacity.
Okay. And sir, in terms of capacity utilization, if there is an adequate demand, like how much can we ramp up? Like we can go to 100% or something?
No, we hypothetically, I think with the demand and with the product mix, we can go to 100%, but I have never seen it happening.
Yes, sir. So realistic number?
Realistic to 90% to 92% we can go if the market resumes and we are able to clock the entire market fast.
Okay. So now, sir, in last quarter, we are at 92%. So in that sense, we are actually right now with our existing capacity, we have operated at optimal capacity in last quarter.
No, 30,000 tons, which you see, if you stipulate in the full year, it is only 1,20,000 tons. It all depends on the full, basically, product mix also at the time of demand. So we are looking at 90% of the capacity, but ultimately everything depends on how the demand shapes up and what is the product mix at that period of time.
Yes, sir, that is given. I'm talking about if there is no demand constraint. I'm talking about under
there is no demand constraints, we can go up to 1,50,000 to 1,60,000 tons in this year.
Okay, perfect, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhishek Jain from Dolat Capital. Please go ahead.
Sir, employee expenses has gone down significantly. It's just 4.6% of the sales in Q4. Is there any layoff the employees in the past quarter? Just wanted to understand, is this run rate will be sustainable in the coming year?
I think, Abhishek, there have been no layoffs, because if you see the demand side, there is no layoff in last quarter. But this number, if the capacity utilization improves, this number is going to remain stable or go down. But we are expecting some wage hikes this year, because we have not given any wage hikes in last 2 years. So this year there is going to be some wage hike in absolute number. But in terms of percentage, if our volume traction goes up and volume in terms of demand goes up, in terms of percentage, I think it will be still lower side.
Okay. And sir, what is the reason of the sharp jump in the other expenses? Is it because of the higher freight charges? And will it be continue for the next quarter as well?
Yes, the sharp jump is due to only higher freight charges than on the export side. And right now it is continuing.
So for next 2 quarters, can we assume that other expenses will be higher side?
It looks so.
And sir, what is your machining capacity out of that total capacity? What you have told around 1,87,000?
Close to 70% is machining capacity.
Okay, sir. And my last question is related with the defense business. Are you looking some opportunity there?
No, we are not looking at any defense opportunities.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jeetu Punjabi from EM Capital Advisors. Please go ahead.
Hi. Thanks so much for detailed presentation and discussion. So 2 questions. You talked about the US Class 8 looking good till the end of 23. Okay. Can you give us what color you're seeing in the European side? Are you seeing European demand turning up and hopefully break-ins from our side into that, and that resulting in better numbers coming out of Europe?
I think Europe demand is pretty stable or on the upward trajectory only. I think we will need to wait for the complete Europe. I think while they are commenting that by July they are going to completely open up post-vaccination, I think we'll need to wait for more clarity post that. But as of now, it's a stable and demand side is very stable and it's looking upwards only. But in terms of numbers, I think it's very difficult to give you numbers as of now, looking into the current situation.
Okay. Second question is, this whole steel price hike all over throughout the world. How much of that is dampens demand for our products globally in India and the US?
I don't think. I think with the OEMs able to pass on some of the price increases of steel to the end consumer, and with the demand looking so strong, as of now we don't feel there is any going to be effect of steel price increases in the demand side. We will need to see how this shapes up in next couple of quarters before we can really comment on it.
Okay. And last question from my side is, when the senior management, top 4 or 5 of you all get together to discuss the business side, outside routine matters, what are the 1 or 2 things that is taking most of your attention and time?
Basically, right now, most of the time is being taken with the COVID management only. Top management sitting how, and second is we are looking at considerable reduction in terms of our debt. These are the 2 things which are in focus right now when the top management discusses how the demand is going to be in the domestic industry with this COVID surge and how long this COVID surge is going to continue. It is the welfare of the employees, also all our employees, so that they and their families stay safe. And second is how to reduce the debt if the market continues as such in this year.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate this.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vipul S. from Reliance Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for taking my question once again. Sir, I have question again on order wins. You highlighted new orders from the LV side primarily. Anything similar on the MHCV side, either from India or from North America, or any new client addition on the MHCV side?
No, I think there is nothing significant to inform to the investors right now on MHCV side.
And secondly, sir, on the new order wins again, I'm not asking about the exact number, but directionally in terms of margins, where do you see this new order wins margins, either will be at par or slightly better?
I think this is going to be slightly better in terms, because it's entirely exports and is our first major entry into this segment. So the margins and the volume looks pretty good for us.
So despite
Hello.
Mr. Vipul, sorry to interrupt you. This is the operator. The audio is breaking from your line, sir.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
So despite new slow ramp up initially, you don't see any margin dilution.
No, we don't see any margin dilution going forward.
Okay, sir. Lastly, on this non-auto side, apart from railway, anything meaningful we are expecting from other non-auto side in next 2-3 years?
No, non-auto side, actually, we are doing lot of activities right now with the tractor and earth moving equipments, but we are treating that into auto sector itself. So I don't think anything significant is going to come in non-auto except these two.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Prabhat Anantharaman from BNK Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks. So you did mention that the underlying demand is looking strong with the domestic MHCV segment, and that in the next 15 days or a fortnight, you would see things stabilizing in the domestic markets. My question was, sir, could you share some thoughts on what is the current in the inventory level in the system? Because that would give a fair idea of how it would, get consumed and, the new production starts coming out of the market.
I think it's extremely, basically we are also working on presumptions. Basically, to say very clearly that fortnight, it is extremely difficult. We are not trying to say any number. We think that in next fortnight, the market with the COVID numbers, what we see in the previous week and reported, and how things are going pan India, we feel that by this month end, we at least look at the dealership to open up and the manufacturing facilities of the OEM as well as the ancillaries to open up, and the oxygen demand to stabilize, wherein we can start using oxygen. That will give an impetus to the new vehicles. In terms of what is the vehicle inventory at the dealer or at the factory end, I think it's extremely difficult right now to give a number to it, because it's extremely volatile right now.
Yeah, but directionally, could you give a guidance on, is it higher than the normal average or lower than that?
No, I think because most of the ancillaries are closed, so lot of vehicles are standing in the OEM side because of non-availability of few parts. So it's extremely difficult to give what is the pipeline inventory of ready vehicles, ready to ship to dealer end. It's extremely difficult to give those numbers.
Right. So bulk of the inventory is currently in a WIP stage rather than a finished good stage.
Yes. Probably.
Right.
We feel so.
That's helpful, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ritvik Bhattacharjee from Kambata Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi everyone. Quick question really. Is there a possibility of the semiconductor shortage situation dragging out, for a longish period of time, and possible impact of that on closing out your existing orders?
Semiconductor shortage, I think, is not playing an active role in terms of MHCV. But while yes, there is a difficult situation right now in Europe as well as US, but what we heard from OEMs that the manufacturing facility in Japan, which was not able to produce, has come back to production, and in next 3 to 4 months things should stabilize for them. And probably that's the reason I said ki third quarter onwards we should see much better numbers in Class 8 trucks, and both in Europe and US.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sanjay Dam from Old Bridge Capital. Please go ahead.
Sir, thank you so much for taking my question. Would really appreciate if we could get some color on the receivables and payables days between March 31st of 20 and March 31st of 21. The payable days have really gone up a lot. So if we could get specifically some color on the payables, that would help us in really understanding the sustainability of the working capital.
See, Sanjay, on the payable side, certainly we have been able to stretch little bit from the creditors on the payable. But again, raw material side, it's always 90 days payment terms, so it remains like that. If you look, if you compare year to year, it is not like apple to apple, because again, I earlier also said the turnover has gone up in the last 2 quarters, and earlier, and if you look at the last year, it is consistent around 250 crore, 270 crore kind of thing for throughout the year. So numbers are looking high in terms of if you compare full year. If you compare last quarter only, then it looks it will be rather down.
So, so far as the receivables minus payables day is concerned, how should we look at it, sir? Your inventory is pretty okay. I mean, there is
pretty, and the data is also pretty okay. Sorry, I got this. Data, if you look at the 59 crore last year number, there was no Tata Motor bill discounting their number in the last year, because all the money from the Tata Motor has come due to lockdown. There was no outstanding in data. This year it was already 68 crore. So if you look at the last year total data, it was 302 crore, and that was around more than 3 months of data. If you look at this quarter also, it's around 3 months of data only.
Right. And in payables, how should we look at it? How should we look at the thing from the
payable are right to be, there may be a little bit moderation from here on, but it will be looking at this kind of number. You can look at the payable. If you look at the 400 crore kind of outstanding, you can look at remain at the payable side also at this level of operation.
400 crore, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sir. That's very helpful. Thank you so much, and wish you all the best. Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Basudev Banerjee from Ambit Capital. Please go ahead.
Yep. Hello.
Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, thanks, sir. I just wanted to understand, sir, like many competitors are showing their capability in terms of differential gears or differential gear assembly also. So yourself being anyhow through forging product making and focusing on parts per vehicle, as you said. So any capabilities in terms of differential gear and differential gear assembly for you, sir?
Mr. Banerjee, I think we will not be able to specifically say the component or particular assembly, but like I have said already, we are looking at first started from forgings, gradually to machining, and now to assemblies. We are also gradually improving in terms of going up the value chain in terms of getting into assemblies.
And any progress, as a few quarters back you were highlighting that you are also focusing on passenger car forging as such. So railways you highlighted, so can you highlight the progress in terms of passenger car forging?
Yes, we have a major thrust in passenger vehicles, and I think our capacity is going to be in place by August 21. And you will be able to see the numbers in passenger vehicles from third quarter onwards.
And both exports and domestic focused, or any specific?
Both export and domestic focused.
That's good. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rishabh Makhija, individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Thank you for taking my question and congratulations on the good set of numbers. So just one small question on the new order win that you highlighted, which will come in FY23. This $25 million of revenue which you guided, will this be on an annualized basis over, would it continue for the next 3 years after FY23 or 5 years? Or is it just a one-time contract? If you could give some.
No, it is a 5-year contract, annualized $25 million business. It's a 5-year contract.
And do you expect this to continue even after the 5 years? Do you expect to keep getting orders to the similar tune?
I cannot comment beyond 5 years right now. Whatever contracts we have got is for FY23 starting and for 5 years. And beyond that, we will need to see as we approach those times. We have not yet spoken on with the customer, so we cannot say right now because it's a 5-year contract right now.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. That's it from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kush Joshi from Kitara Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for giving opportunity. Sir, I just want to understand that how much capacity will be adding for passenger vehicles in tonnage terms?
No, I think we have not, Kush, any specific demarcated number capacity in terms of capability. Yes, we will be able to make passenger vehicle components going forward from August onwards. But we have not earmarked any capacity. We will look at whatever options we get from customers. We are looking at all options and to engage our capacities. Okay. Whether it is MSCV, CV or LCV or passenger vehicle, whatever business is lucrative and we get to occupy our equipments, we will go ahead and do those.
Okay. My second question is with respect to couple of quarters back we have entered South American markets. So how the market is looking like and when we start getting orders from that particular market?
We have already started shipping our material from last 2 quarters to the South American market. And I think market is doing well, but as India is struck with COVID second wave, you are aware that Brazil is also affected by COVID wave. So we presume that underlying demand is very strong, and we will continue to be on the upward trajectory in the Brazil market.
So once the situation eases, we can see good traction in that segment.
Yes.
And my last question is with respect to debt levels. So now we have highlighted that we'll start repaying every quarter some amount for repayment of debt as a part of the strategy.
We have not said anything in terms of every quarter, but overall in the year, we are looking to deploy 1/3 of the cash, whatever we earn, to repay the debts.
Annually?
Annually.
Okay. So our working capital cycle will be in the similar lines. It won't get stretched further, even if we get more export business.
No.
Okay. Thanks so much. This was helpful.
Thank you. As there are no further questions from the participants, I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thank you. Thank you for the handover. On behalf of the management, we would provide a vote of thanks to all the participants who have participated in the call today for Ramkrishna Forgings Limited. We wish you a good week. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of ICICI Securities Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.